million prize pool. The most of the money goes to that finals tomorrow, and you want to be a part of it.
It is not often we get to see series like this in Apex Legends, and all those players that you see on your screen, you know full well their hearts are already going to be beating. There are some that are competing to try and get to that top 2. Others are just trying to scramble their way up the ladder to get even more prize money here at the Esports World Cup. Everything to play for. 2 matches still to go, and so many points still on the line here. No one's out of it just yet.
Before we see the first bullets being fired, I think it's important to highlight what a journey it's been for a lot of these teams just to get to this position, right? Fighting their way through the groups, didn't quite make it into that top 9 to make finals, had to come back today to give it their all and see if they could force their way back into that grand final with a finish in the top 2 positions when we have the final bullets fired. Now, looking at our map overlay and looking where the zone is going to be going, we are going to the north. We are going up towards Survey Camp, and Dan Gaskin, we're going up towards TSM.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the analysts were just saying. You know, Survey Camp, it can be quite difficult sometimes with the loot that's available and the rotations as well. Well, if the zone's coming towards you, it can be a little bit easier, but there is not there is a survey beacon, but no ring console for TSM, so they may just move a little bit further away from that location. If I'm TSM here, I'm going to be making sure that someone has eyes on the skies. Is anyone starting to close in on you? Are you seeing people quickly sending it towards Survey Camp? That'll give you a good idea of where the zone's going.
And a reminder of the standings at the moment. The 2 teams, if it was to finish right now, and these 2 teams would wish it had, are going to be Guild and Northeption. They're the 2 teams who hold down the qualification spots at the moment. We saw just then as well, the team that's chasing that is closest is Space Station Gaming. Now, they started the day pretty well today, Dan, but just gone a little bit quiet in the last few games, and with only 2 to go, you can't be quiet. You need to make a splash now.
Yeah, I think the biggest winners of going back to World's Edge here is Guild. They had a 2nd place and a 1st place at the start of the day when we kicked off World's Edge. Space Station did have a 4th place as well. Certainly, if you look at the consistency on this map, those 2 teams should benefit. But of course, zones change, and suddenly your ideologies of how you want to approach the game have to shift as well with where that zone's going to be going.
Well, interestingly, as we overlook a fight going down here between WBG, I think the Pioneers on the other side of that, if I wasn't mistaken. I just want to quickly talk about essentially the development in and around the zone. TSM have been joined by Heroes who have moved into the survey camp and have sat there. So that's going to give a bit of info as to where the zone is going to be going. Like you mentioned, they didn't have a ring console, but they did have a survey beacon there. So Heroes hitting that and probably not moving is going to give them some good indication of how they want to play. Pioneers, though, back on our screens right now, still just poking and seeing if they can get enough entry damage to try and force this fight.
If you do force this fight, you better believe that the opposition is going to fight tooth and nail to try and stay alive, because no one is going to roll over and show their belly at this point in match 9. As we watch NIP moving along, still grey armors at the moment, pathing their way to try and get an Evo Harvester to get up to blues, but they run into another team here in Geyser. It's Tai who are going to be forced into this vault tunnel, and there's a lot of damage being ticked.
Yeah, big flesh damage coming in from the Knuckle Cluster, and it's enough after they pick up that Evo Harvester to get them up to blues. So you're going to see an even fight at the moment when it comes to armor. And also in the kill feed, we go backwards, we see a knock coming in, and it was on the side of KCP. They get one onto Boring, and now you're going to see an exchange. Jen's going to go down thanks to the Skynade coming out of Jackie Chan.
Oh, it's a 2 versus 2, as you mentioned, and now Pioneers, they do have the opportunity to go for a res here. You can have one player to hold, the other player to res. That's exactly what you're seeing. The smokes will allow. How did you hit that shot? The exhibit just helping out to see where that player is going to be in the smoke.
Onmu just felt a little change in the wind there, and that's all he needed to pull the trigger and hit that shot. Elsewhere, you see TSM in a fight now, and they've managed to pick up a kill. I'm pretty sure it's Red Rams, the member that they managed to pick someone off of. All of the players still healthy here on TSM, and you can see from the position they have, I always say I love this position in and around the train carts right to the northern side of this zone. It means you're not stuck in the traffic of Survey. It means you can use the rock formations to survive essentially without having to do too much, and then as teams rotate, you can do exactly what they're doing now. Inka's going to go down here from Red Rams. Zap got that knock, and he'll get the finish too.
I don't think it's the end of the world that TSM did leave Survey and went a little bit further north, saw everyone starting to arrive at their POI, and now they're just holding this northern side, and it can continue to pull up this way. And even if it doesn't, as you've mentioned, you're in a pretty good spot to be able to get kills and get a little bit of a height advantage over some of the other teams as well.
We can see that KCP winning this fight convincingly now, as another knock and fin is going to come in thanks to Onmu, and Onmu It looks like he's up for this game, right? A long way to go, of course, for them to try and turn this around. They're sat on 41 points at the moment, which is down in 13th position, if I'm not mistaken. TSM still a little bit of a pinch situation coming in from them, and this is the one difficulty, right, of holding this. You've got to watch the teams that are coming in from Climatizer, but also the teams who are rotating in and around the tracks, and we had that balloon inside of the tunnel as well, which certainly can catch you off guard if you're not careful. DSG having a little look at Na'Vi right now as we're just outside of stage.
Red Rams, by the way, were able to respawn their third back up. TSM couldn't finish them off because Evo started to get involved with it. So now Red Rams on that northern side will be back up to a full 3. So still 20 squads left. And there are going to be a healthy set of Red Rams, maybe looking for some revenge. Now, Designful's hit some big shots today with any long-range weapon in his hand, but especially that Sentinel.
For now, these shots not really going to do too much. This is completely isolated at the moment. It looks like Na'Vi went over to Mirage Assoir to get information. There is a ring console. There was a survey beacon as well, but just slightly up on the high ground of the rock formation. So probably going to leave that one for now.
Tango spotted.
As they are now on their way towards Lava Fissure, and Disguised are essentially mirroring exactly what they're doing. Now, on your screen, you can see where everybody is on the map, and you can also, like you quite rightly seen, get the indication that Red Rams are back up to that full 3. Back on board with DSG, we mentioned how they were mirroring Na'Vi. Well, Na'Vi have created a little bit of distance now, so it's all about the rotate for them and how they plan their next moves.
And where does this zone continue to shift? Are we going to keep going up further north? And yes, we are. It is going to be a good opportunity for the likes of Crazy Raccoon, who can hold that train tunnel for quite some time. Any team that tries to approach from Skyhook, they can hold out. They also have the opportunity to jump in and third party any fights that happen on the north as well. So keep an eye on Crazy Raccoon throughout this game, but also TSM on that northern tip. But then you've got these 4 or 5 squads that have already found themselves within Survey Beacon, who also have a fantastic chance to win this game.
Survey Camp.
Survey Camp. I mean, if you could be within a survey beacon, that would be even better.
You'll know where everything's happening. Anyway, Guild, this is a position that TSM are going to have to be aware of, right? Because playing up on these rocks, as we can see here, it provides so many angles for Guild to do damage to all the teams in the surrounding area. And I like how they're commanding a lot of space here, right? It's a good thing about the height, of course, is to just be able to fire shots on multiple targets, but also you can drop down, you can escape different lines of sight that fire onto you, and you can get back to your teammates. And it makes it a little bit more simple to command that space. Elsewhere, we're going to see a continuation of the conversation, shall we say, between DSG and Na'Vi as we see all they rotate. And now we're going to see KCP creeping around on their tippy toes. They're trying to catch someone off guard here.
Weibo just respawned their 2 teammates as well. So we're back to the 60 players in the lobby, but there's going to be less, I think, here. Pioneers have lost 2. Omnu going to be the last remaining player.
Omnu's left on his own, like you say, and it's going to be knockdown shield play, which is going to have to be how you win this fight. The Thermite is going to be good to force them out, but the damage is coming in. There's 2 players still alive. It'd have to be a 1 versus 2 for Onmu, and it's not going to be that. Pioneers are eliminated, and Makers will get the rest.
And as I mentioned earlier, even though some of these teams are still quite far behind the leading pack, there is so much prize money up for grabs here. Every position gained is going to be more cash dollar to take home at the end of this tournament. So that could be a massive fight for the likes of Makers.
DSG passing their way towards zone at the moment, up to Purples, which, as we've already seen when we've checked in with the teams in and around Survey Camp, Purples at the moment is, I would say, a head start on most of the armors you're going to be going up against. A lot of Blues inside it and around Survey Camp. SSG, the closest to those qualification spots, yet not inside of them. 3rd place in the overall standings as it stands. And playing on top of Grandma's house right now, trying to hold out a couple of teams. Now, DSG, we saw they're going to be close and maybe having a look. VP also just across from them in the train station. So that's why you can see they've got their head on a swivel a little bit.
You can feel how tense it is in this lobby just by how everyone's avoiding these fights at the moment, trying to cram their way into the next zone. Don't want to get caught in between any gunfire as well. Only 1 team that's fallen so far, and that is KCP. Now for the Northampton here, it's got to be about playing that survival game, not doing anything too risky to put yourself in a vulnerable spot where you could be third-partied. And if you can find that same consistency they've had throughout the majority of the day, I mean, several 2nd places, top 3s on the board as well. 1 more, top 2, you'd think should be good enough to get them up there.
I mean, I'm not the biggest crypto fan myself when it comes to compositions, when it comes to Legends, but when you are trying to hold down a 1st or 2nd place as a qualification spot and you're inside, the ability to just see where teams are without having to take too much of a risk to overextend, to scout, like if you're on a Bangalore, for example, just means you have that extra level of safety to decide what your next play is going to be. So maybe that could be a little bit of a contributor towards their success here. Na'Vi outside of the train tunnel for now. Crazy Raccoon, like you mentioned, are the team who are going to be inside it. Na'Vi will be safe, but they're just checking their backs right now and making sure that nobody rotates behind them.
Well, Na'Vi, it looked like they were down and out a little bit earlier. 43 points now. They are still within a chance of getting into that top 2. If they can find a victory, they would be well on their way to qualifying for the grand finals. And I think there's a lot of teams that feel that way going into match number 9 here. Get yourself within a shot as you proceed into match 10. You don't want to be too far behind where you have to have some record-breaking game to try and break your way into the grand finals. At least get yourself within touching distance, and certainly Na'Vi, they have rescued what was a very poor start to today.
I mean, the fact that we haven't had a repeat winner in these games so far kind of sums up the likelihood of having a monster game, right? It's just... It seems out of the realms of possibility at the moment with how tightly contested these teams are and how the skill level seems to be very, very tight between them. Obley on the Bloodhound. With Crazy Raccoon in 15th position overall at the moment.
Crazy when you consider how they started today with a victory. It's been the opposite of what we saw from Na'Vi. It was a very fast, passionate start from Crazy Raccoon, which they have not been able to find the momentum from. But again, if they were to win here, they still probably get close enough going into match 10. And that is what is so scary about this lobby at the moment, as Disguised, they're trying to make their way through. You can see Na'Vi on the other side of this. These two teams have been gesturing against one another for quite some time, but the fight just hasn't really got underway.
Yeah, this is chapter 3 at the moment, the third time that we've seen them kind of engaging with each other. We're going to see the zip line go down as well. Now, this is an interesting fight, right? Because the zone is damaging DSG, but on the flip side of that, they have the advantage when it comes to the armors. And now you're going to see the drive-by attempted stick coming in from Designpool. Enemy's going to get that first knock, and they're going to confirm the kill as well. That will be Na'Vi rocked and put on the back foot. But who's coming right now from that train tunnel? It's going to be Crazy Raccoon. They're taking a look at this.
That's one thing I said about Crazy Raccoon. They position themselves for potential third parties. Disguised don't want to overstep this one. Designpool's taken a lot, but now they're going to see there is another team in the area. Na'Vi just left with Matafi. Should go down, will go down, but will Disguised survive because Crazy Raccoon are there? It looks like they're going to get the chance, at the very least, here to get a res.
Crazy Raccoon are trying to push up, and they're trying to see if they can get into a place to at least get these finishes to confirm these kills and add the points to their tallies. It's a long way to go for CR. Like we mentioned, a huge amount of points they need to get. In the meantime, Northeption have been eliminated. Now that makes this very interesting.
Well, one team that would be very happy about a Northeption elimination would be Guild. A chance for us to jump into a listen and see what the comms are like with them.
Thank you. What are we playing for?
This rock right here.
All right, yep.
They got blue armor right here, I think.
Nice. They're fighting in epi still.
You might want to pop it off Sophia, but you're not going to get jumped back.
Yeah, I'm popping up. It's my only one. The fuse team out back.
Yeah. Climb up from here.
Target over there.
Yeah.
You got a kid getting wrapped from like Epi as well.
Yeah, I'm hard doing it.
Should I go play this now?
I don't know if the angles are like that.
I'm going to go check this.
Yeah, they blew out very back.
Okay, getting wrapped from Epi, okay?
Yeah, I'm going back up hard on you, Jessica. They're sitting on the blue crates. Epi team.
It might be Northeption at the north. I don't think it is, it's a fuse team. On top of crane.
Oh, no angles.
One.
No angles.
Is he in?
I don't have angles.
No.
Hostile spotted.
Epi team is sliding down here.
One or two on
to
the
fight
fuse.
him. Don't have angles on any of them.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sitting on top of the rock.
There's a team holding them out as well. 3 teams in Epi. Could get some
not
KP
looking
here.
at you, empty. Yeah, I'm looking left where Jessica.
Yeah, I'm just holding this. Here. 30 flash, didn't get it.
Yeah, move in, Jessica.
Yeah, I'm moving. Epi team put his zip down and see where it goes.
He is
How do you-
not taking it, not taking it.
How do you...
My mark.
Crossing.
Well, Guild continue to output damage thanks to MT in this 30-30. Something very interesting that jumped out to me from that listening. They don't know that North Epsom have been eliminated. You could hear from MT, he was like, I think that's North Epsom, maybe that's North Epsom. They don't know, and they are holding down one of those top spots at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like a mistake. Someone should have had eyes on it, but it's not as easy, of course, to track that kill feed when it starts to get fast. I will say, though, we did see Ninjas in Pyjamas eliminated. We saw Ty eliminated, Virtus Pro go down, and Weibo Gaming falling like flies. We're down to 10 squads as the zone forces all these fights together.
And one team who's in a great spot now is going to be Guild. The zone is going to be shifting towards where they find themselves right now. And that means for the likes of SSG, for TSM, they're going to have to fight their way through. Crazy Raccoon have been eliminated in the meantime. 9 squads now remaining, and Space Station have the toughest rotate out of the teams who are closest to those top positions at the moment. They have to fight their way through Survey and all the teams who are already here.
Space Station push themselves into second place ahead of North Epsom. TSM also starting to catch North Epsom as well. The early exit from North Epsom opens this thing. It blows it wide open here in match number 9, and will set us up perfectly for match number 10, by the way.
I mean, one issue here maybe for SSG is lack of meds. I mean, look at this. One shield cell here for Zainu. You saw health meds looking like they were low because they weren't able to maybe find the time to pop them, or maybe they just weren't in the backpack. Well, TSM in the meantime up into 4th. Now, a long way to go in this game, of course, as 15 seconds is left until this zone starts to close. And I tell you what, the tension is, you can feel it. I mean, we're up in our own box at the moment, and we can feel it just through the facial expressions, the emotion, and some of the intensity of these listenings that we're hearing. This is what it's all about. Red Rams eliminated in 8th.
Honestly, throughout the echoes, throughout the arena, when you have those listenings, you can hear the other teams calling out. There's so much passion at the moment. Round 5 is closing, and this circle is not big enough for 7 squads. Guild Esports in one of the primary positions right now. SSG should survive, but TSM, NRG, HOW, Heroes, they all have to start moving a little bit here.
TSM starting to just tiptoe their way forward. That's Guild Esports we're looking at right now, in first place. And boy, could this be a monster opportunity for them to solidify maybe even a place in the grand finals with 1 game still to go. A win here would do them wonders. 7 squads remaining. TSM now, they're trying to make their move, and Verhulst has to back up.
This is a big push from TSM as they're trying to find space. SSG have lost 1, it could be 2. Zainu, though, does have a lot of health here, does have the chance for a shield swap, and they will just about survive as NRG go down.
NRG are down. TSM now need to make their move. HOW eliminated. Top 5 now. But there's a flank coming in. There's a rogue pathfinder there jumping out this building. TSM are trying to hold. Space Station eliminated in the meantime. Zap with the shots in. Esports down. And TSM will survive.
Is anyone there to actually get a third here? I don't think they are. Heroes are in the building. Guild have height, and TSM will reset. And all the meanwhile, TSM jump up into one of the top 2 qualification spots here in match 9. Now, these are big, important points for anyone who can grab them here. Heroes fighting to get more prize money, to get closer to those top 2. But for Guild and TSM, this could be the points that just get you far enough away from 3rd place.
I mean, the craziest thing about all of this is usually when you see that kind of fight happen, TSM will get 3rd, but the lack of teams that's left in the lobby, they've been able to fully reset here. Loot those boxes, get those meds popped, and nobody has tried to push that advantage just because of the space they have to play. It's a 3v3v3. Guild have Godspot. They have so much space to play with, and you almost feel like it's up to Heroes and TSM to decide who gets 2nd here.
Yeah, TSM, I'm curious about their decision-making here. Do they try and flank on the west side to maybe catch the individual player on Guild Esports on his own, or do they just send it onto Heroes and say, look, 2nd place would be everything for us here. The points could be massive. Do they believe they can win this game is the biggest question.
Zap's looking for angles. TSM will have to move first. They will have to leave the building as Guild move down onto the loot pills. Gen goes down for them as well, and TSM are making their move. They think 2nd place is their best chance at points in this game. It isn't looking too healthy for them. TSM eliminated as Guild now look to 3rd pie. Surely it's a win for Guild.
Should be a win for Guild. It's just a matter of time. They can't really throw this one away, but Heroes will still try their very best. But sadly, the grenades are hitting hard as Guild now, they are dominating this lobby, and they will put themselves in prime position going into match 10.
They will know, just convert here, even though it seems simple. These opportunities don't happen too often. Turn the opportunity into a win and put 1 foot in that grand Grand Finals. Guild take the win here on World's Edge. And you can see that they know from the reaction there that maybe they feel the job is done.
Well, Guild Esports came into that game tied in first place. They were only 3 points ahead of third place. They will